Oh, yeah. And just go to core. Okay, well, welcome everybody. As Hope said, my name is Sarah Duncan. I think I've now met everybody, but I'm in the College of Education. I teach mostly undergraduate courses around literacy and our Clinical Practice 1 course. So this morning I was at 2 different schools doing observations. So how many of you have used Canva before? Canva, not Canvas. We have a little confusion here because 2 tools that are very similarly named, but Canva. Okay, so looks like some of you, most of you have at least used it in some capacity. So my presentation is actually, I used Canva to make my slideshow, although it's not my favorite slide tool. So what is Canva? For those of you who don't know, it is a very user-friendly graphic design program, and it helps you create flyers, documents very quickly. There are over 8,000 professionally designed templates and layouts that you can use from to sort of kickstart your design. Question?
One really basic question.
Yeah.
Is it just an accident that it looked like Canvas, or are they connected?
They are not connected in any way. Yeah. So good question. It has a drag and drop simplicity. So if you have any background at all in graphic design, a lot of the software is very difficult to use. So that's what makes Canva so nice, is that it's super simple. It's also free. So you can do a lot with Canva for no cost. There are certain images and graphics that they'll charge you $1 for, or they put a watermark on it so that it kind of looks tacky, but it's, for the most part, there's a lot you can do for no cost. So I thought I'll just show this very quick tutorial here. It's just a couple, less than 2 minutes, but it just gives you an introduction of kind of the functionality of it.
This video, you'll learn how to find your way around Canva, how to use a template, how to add your own photos, and how to design from scratch. This is the editor. This is where you can design, collaborate, share, publish, and more. Here is the menu bar. This is where you can change the name of your design. Your designs are saved automatically as you work, but you can use the manual save option here. This is the sign panel. Here you can find templates, images including photos, illustrations and icons, and elements like grids and frames. The text tab allows you to add a text box to your design, or you can choose a text combination, which are fonts that have been paired together to make your design look great. There's also the Uploads tab, where you can add your own photos and images to your designs. And then there's the Folders tab, where you can organize your designs and images. In the Apps tab, you can find the Canva for Work apps and more. To create a design, you can use a template or design from scratch. Find a template by scrolling, or use the search bar to search. Then click or drag and drop your chosen template. Templates are fully customizable. Click the element you want to change, then use the toolbar to adjust. Change the images, colors, text, and more. To design from scratch, choose a background. This can be a color or an image. Add images and text. Once your design is finished, you can collaborate or share with your teammates by entering their email address here, or you can share a link. Click on Publish to download, share to social media, professionally print, and more. Now it's your turn. Unleash your creativity.
Okay, so that was very quick, but hopefully gives you a little bit of an idea of the simplicity of it, some of the options. So in general, you can see these are some of the templates that Canva offers. There are many. Some of the things I have done with Canva, making social media posts. So this was a colleague who had a book session, and I wanted to make sure my students knew about it. So it took me just a couple minutes in Canva to take a template, and I just personalized it with the information about the event. And then I shared it with them through email. And then I have a GroupMe for my students, and I shared it through GroupMe. I've also made flyers. I'm with the faculty advisor for our student group for students in education. And so I've made flyers advertising different events with Canva. Again, we have a GroupMe, so I've done social media posts to remind them of events. Also, there's a lot of customizability with it. This was a flyer I made for an event when I was leading a mission team to New York City for a week, and we did a princess fundraiser party. And so you can see the original that I took, and I actually did a lot of personalization with that. So you can just see if you have a lot of time and you enjoy playing, there's lots of customizability with it to create something totally different. And then this was like a notebook insert for the front of a notebook to personalize. Okay, so if you don't have a Canva account, I would encourage you to go ahead and set one up for free. You can do it right now. So we'll have some time that you can kind of play around in Canva, but it's canva.com. No cost to set up an account. And then when you get into Canva, there are a couple different ways to search. So sometimes I want to search by a theme. So maybe I want to see stuff that looks teachery. And so I'll go to canva.com/templates. So if you go there, and let's say I want something that looks like education, because I teach education classes. And so that doesn't really help. I'm going to try teacher. Okay, so here's a lot. Some of these look really teachery. So if I'm looking for something around that theme and I don't care so much about the size, then I can go in and customize one of these templates with my own information. Other times you may just be looking to create a design. So the create a design button will take you to kind of browse the different types of templates. So you can see they have them sorted by print, social media, documents, personal, education, marketing. You can also click the Canva logo, and that will take you to a search box. The search box here will pull up different types of templates. So if you're looking for a flyer template, you can type in flyer and it'll show you flyers. But that box will not work for thematic searches. Like if I want something that's related to movies, it won't work. So you can see there's all kinds of flyers, and it will set the size to be a flyer. Okay, so I want to share with you how I have been using Canva with my courses, and I'm going to show you sort of a range from high prep to low prep. Now, I would say even the low prep depends on some sort of functionality with Canva. So if you've never used Canva before, there's really no other way to learn it than to just kind of get on it and play with the features and use it. I know, I've spent many hours with Canva, so I'm obviously, not a beginner, and so I can kind of quickly do things because I know how the software works. But okay, so this would be an example of a low prep option. So this is for our student teaching seminar, and I only had about an hour because the classes were supposed to be combined a couple months before the class started, but it got done the night before. So I was trying to make this banner for this combined section. And so all I did was make a banner in Canva, and then I also made a course card to go on my dashboard. So this was a very low prep Canva. I did it in less than an hour for both parts. And you can see the template that I used. I started with an email header. So that was the shape. And then you can see what I did. I didn't do much to customize it. I didn't like how it was kind of to the side. So I just like scooched over those icons so that they're not all on one side. And I put my, class information in the center. So again, this took very little time. I just, had to move a few things around and add some text. Okay, this is what I would call medium prep. I spent probably about an hour and a half doing this, all told together. But I did the course card that appears on the dashboard page. I did a header, and then I did buttons. So you can see I organize all of my Canvas courses with pages. I don't use the modules. I just don't think that way. I like to see everything, and I'm very visual. So you can see I have buttons here that take you to the primary pages that the course is organized around. So I made these buttons in Canva, and I made the header. And then I also made on each of the pages, there's a page header at the top. So I made those as well in Canva. Also, did you guys know you can use emojis in Canvas? I love to do this. If you go to emojipedia.org, it'll pull up the emoji library, and you just copy whatever emoji you want and paste it into Canvas. So if you like emojis, there you go. So you can see I kind of put them next to my different, study guides, class readings. All right, so this is the example of, I would definitely say, high prep. This was the first thing I ever did in Canva/Canvas. So I was learning a lot as I was creating this, and I did a lot of things wrong, and I had to figure it out. But the main thing that took this from lower prep to higher prep would be I made all these customized buttons. So they're super cute, right? And plus, all my students are females. Just that's why it looks a little girly. I get maybe one male student every 2 or 3 years, but I had to go in and make these individual buttons. And again, I enjoy that. It's fun for me. So I was having fun as I did it, but it definitely, I'm probably not sure how many hours I spent on this. It was several, but the buttons definitely took a while. And then I also have page headers that tie in with the original class banner for all the different course assignments. You can see my emojis once again. Okay, so how do you create a course header? I feel like that is a great place to start if you're wanting to put some elements of Canva into Canvas. So basically you want to start with a template. And so I've put some suggestions here that have the general shape of a header that you can put at the top of the page. So an Etsy cover, SoundCloud banner, Facebook cover, leaderboard ad, email header. And then you can also, if you have dimensions, you can click on custom dimensions. So let's say I want to do SoundCloud banner. Just look at what those look like. So you can see there's lots of templates here to choose from. You can also do Etsy cover was another one that will give you that similar, oh, that's not what I want. Etsy shop cover. Nope, that's the same thing. Also, one thing you can do is just put in banner, and it'll give you a lot of different sizes of banners. Lots of templates. Facebook cover.
So are you saying all these are more or less equivalent for ways to get built?
That thing at the top. Okay, so let's pick this one. Okay, so I like this one because it has, oops, that was not what I wanted. We want go on an adventure. So I'm going to say use this template. I like this because there's a place for text in the middle. And one of the things when you're working with images, you want to make sure that it's really readable and accessible. So it says go on an adventure. Obviously, I want this to say information about my course. Now, in the background, we have a photo. So there's a couple different things we can do. We can either change that photo to something that's more applicable to the class, or you can use just a background. So if I go to backgrounds, I can change it to any of these things. If you like leaves, here's bricks, very hip. Wooden, if you want kind of a Chip and Joanna type look. Some shiplap. So lots of options for backgrounds. So what's a class that someone teaches? Because I'm going to show you a photo. If you go to Elements and you can click on Photos, there's they have a lot of stock images that you can use. Matt, do you teach any literature classes? Okay, so I'm going to look for books, okay? Okay, so
I
it's,
like that one for book.
that's nice. That's $1 though. Don't want to pay that. All right, here. Oh, that's free. I like that. That looks good. Okay, so here we have a photo, and I'm going to delete the photo that's already there. And then you want to make this big enough so that it covers the whole thing. It's not quite big enough. Okay, so now you can't see the text, right? And this is a frequent thing. If you've ever worked with graphic design software, there's layers. And so if you work any in Canva, you'll want to remember to just change the position. So right now, this picture is pasted on top of all that text, so we just want to move it to the back. And so now the text came forward, but that box is still missing. So, oop, there we go. All right, so let's see. Let's say this is American literature. And I want to say, let's see, if you type the letter T, this is a neat shortcut. It will create a text box for you that you can then just move to wherever you want. So let's say this is EN4322. Put that up here. And then Dr. Matt Hearn. Want that to be a little bigger. Whoops, I made it really big. Okay, so you can see that was pretty easy to do. Also, you can change the background. Like if I don't want this box to be white, maybe I want it to be gray. I can change it to gray. Oh, that looks kind of sophisticated. I like that a lot. So that's it. I can change the color of the text if I want it to be different colors. Really simple. Also, another thing that you can do, let's say we didn't have this box here and we just want to write the text directly on the photo. You can see it's very hard to see the text, but you can change the transparency of the photo. Oh, but I have to change it because the background's purple. I'll have to make sure that's white instead of purple. But you can change the transparency so that now, probably want to make that black just to make sure it's really readable. Bold it. So I've done a lot of that where you make the picture to where it's more transparent and then you can put your banner over that. So that's making a course header. So now if you want to use this in your Canvas, I'm going to go back to this one. I like it. So you just go to download, and I usually do the PNG file type. You can choose a JPEG, but I found sometimes with the JPEGs, it's not quite as crisp, the text. So I'm going to do a PNG. I'm going to download it. So it's preparing my design. Now it's going to ask me if I want to upgrade to Canva for Work for free, and I don't. All right, so then I can go back into Canvas, and I'll just use this course that hasn't been created yet. And I want to do a page. So this is going to be my home page, right? So it's going to have my nice header. And so I just need to upload that file that I just downloaded called White Vintage. Don't want that, so I want to embed. I think I'm gonna have to upload it. Okay, it's there. So I'm gonna go to embed. I just uploaded it, so it should be right there. Update, save and publish. Oh, I have to enter title homepage. So there's my course header. And then underneath that, I can type, welcome to American Literature. Here's my email, contact information. And you could add buttons if you want to link to other pages, or you could link to your modules or whatever. Okay, so that is the course header. Anybody have questions about that?
So easy.
It's so easy, right? Yeah, it is easy.
You do buttons the same way? Or is that a separate thing in your?
We'll get to buttons. Yes, it's coming up. Okay, so course cards. So I know if you look in your dashboard pages, you can see I have course cards for all my courses. I think it's a lot easier to differentiate in your dashboard than just having, you know, blue and red and green. So I try to usually just take my design for the course header and try to cut and paste sometimes. Like, so this, I think it would be pretty easy. I would probably just take out that and maybe put all this in like we had with the transparency. Oh, I made that wrong thing, transparent. So if you're in a hurry, you can just try to crop this. Like you can open it up in photo software and just crop out that middle part. Or you can even upload it. Canvas will let you can kind of center. But I will say I have had some troubles at times where I try to upload it and it's not the right dimensions because it can't be exactly square. The actual dimensions that it suggests are 162 by 146 pixels. So if you want to make sure you get it right, I would just go back to where you can do custom dimensions. It said what, 162 by 146. And so create a new design. So now we have that exact spot. So if we want to go back to our pictures, or let's do something different. Maybe we could do, what's a course someone else teaches? Walter, what's one of your courses? Okay, Christian living. I just think of the bricks. I think that's perfect, right? Spirituality, bricks, okay. I go to ethos, can you tell? All right. Okay, so, and then you want to, here, we're not using a template. So it has suggested text pairings that their designers have put together that look nice together. I will say though, these are meant, you know, when they're done by designers, it's always form over function. So you can see some of them, like this is not at all readable. You know, look at this tiny text. So anyway, I'm just going to use text. So I have disciplines of Christian living. Yeah, we're going to change that. So it has tons of fonts though. If you like fonts, so many options. I'm going to do Amico Bold. And then again, we might want to work on the transparency there of those bricks. Got orange underneath. Okay, so you can see, again, now it's the right size. If you want to upload into your course, you just click on the course and go to settings. And then you choose your image to put there. So let's actually try our old white vintage and see how that looks. Hey, that looks great. So that's nice. You don't have to do any resizing or anything. So
Do students see cards?
yes,
Yeah.
When they log in, they see them. So, and you can imagine, I think they probably don't do a good job of, like if they're taking 6 classes, they've got, and I don't know, does it show previous semesters?
It depends on if they have it like on this little star.
Yeah, so it probably looks kind of like a disaster. It's probably all, you know, crowded. So now we have our American literature class right there. All right, so that brings us to after course cards are buttons. So buttons, you can click on custom dimensions to kind of give you the right sort of palette to work on. So 200 by 200 pixels is about a decent size for a square button. If you want rectangular, you can do 150 by 200. And then you want to look in the elements and graphics part. You can also go with a logo template. I've used some of those for my buttons. It's a little bit larger. It's like 500 by 500. But sometimes it gives you good ideas within the template. Like if you want a button that looks something like one of these things, like a red button that's circular. But I'm going to go to custom dimensions for my button. And I'm going to do a square button. So I'll do 200 by 200. So you want to go over to elements because that will give you the different shapes and graphical icon things. But let's say you can look under shapes. So if you want a heart button or a pentagon button, lots of options. This is the kind of button I used in one of my courses that I have right now. It's the clinical practice button. You can make it different colors for the shapes. And then you want to add your text. Change it to white. Okay, so there's a button. And then again, you do the same way. You just download it. So the only thing that's really tricky with buttons is that you have to use a table. At least I don't know of any other way to put it onto a page than a table. And anytime you work with tables, it just gets buggy. And I've heard that particularly tables are very buggy in Canvas. So you can see when you look at my home page, if I go to edit, all my buttons appear nice and centered because I put in a table. And then I inserted each of the individual buttons into the table. So sometimes it works just fine, and sometimes it just doesn't quite look right, and so you have to play with it. I'm not an expert. I don't know HTML. If I did, I could probably do a lot better with troubleshooting that, but I just kind of fool around with it until it looks about right, and then I'd cross my fingers that I don't need to add anything else. So the way that you do a table, though, is if you have the page, let's say I want to do a table on this page. So you're going to do the table here, insert a table, and I want a 3x3 table. So if you save that and then look at it, you have this ugly table. So you don't want that. You want to go to table properties right here. And you want to make sure your border is 0. So that way the table lines will not show at all. And then you can insert your buttons into the table. So I have some buttons here. I'll just put one in. Okay, so I'm glad I did this. You can see this button is enormous because I'm not really conscientious about making all my buttons the right size. I'm usually in a hurry, but it's nice because you can resize the button within the editor. So I can make it whatever size that I want it to be, which is really nice. And then I want it centered. And again, I made all these buttons in Canva. Maybe a little big. So you see how that works. But again, I would say the buttons are kind of more an advanced feature, and you have to be patient trying to get those tables to look just right.
Once you put the buttons in, how do you then create it so it's a click to go someplace?
Great question. So the way that you do that, if you go to the home page, I go to edit. So I have set up pages that link to all of these buttons. So all I have to do is click on the button I want and then go to link. And I want this to link to my field experience page. So I click field experience, it creates the link, and then I save it. And then so I click on field experience and it opens up that page. So it's basically like website functionality. And so you build it like a website with the links embedded in the buttons.
Do you reuse buttons from course to course? Or do you custom build buttons for everything?
I have been using, so this course, it looked the exact same in the fall, except I changed spring 2019 to in the fall it said fall 2018. So I haven't recreated my buttons. I've just been copying them over. But all my courses do have different looking buttons. If you look at Clinical Practice 1, my other course that has buttons, I made these for that, and they will probably be the same for the next few years. However, I'll say for the seminar course, I didn't have time to make buttons. And so I just have kind of key links to the other main parts of the course.
But you could, if you have like the same thing for every course.
Yeah, you could definitely use the same buttons.
The part of it is if you teach a bunch of courses, it's not cost effective.
Right.
Design. I guess you could, but I don't think
You could if you enjoy that.
You can just transport the button over and then change the link.
Sure. That would work easily. And you can also do, like if you want cute shaped buttons, again, not for those probably wanting to maximize their, but you can do, I can add a new page down here and do a light bulb button so students can click the light bulb instead of a square or a rectangle. Any other questions? I think, let me see if I have anything else. Oh, and this was a really neat tutorial. There's lots of course, resources out there on using Canva for Canvas. And this was one I found that was had some good information. It looks like I did not link it properly, so I'll make sure that that is put in there.
So the tutorial is in Canvas?
No, it's just a PDF file I found that somebody created from some university. But it has some more step-by-step things if you're trying to figure that out.
And I attended a session, I'll have to look it up, it's a virtual session conference thing that showed you how you could like go into your HTML editor and change the size. So that way it was an automatic, you go in and you change one little thing, and then that way if you're looking at mobile versus the web page, it will automatically like fit in there. And so I will share that out with you guys. I'll go back and look at my notes on that.
And somehow mine do that. I didn't intend that to work, but when I look at them on mobile, they look the same. Yeah. So the other thing I will mention, if we have, sometimes you cannot find a picture that's free that you want to use. So you can use any picture that you find and upload it. So for example, if I don't like this, I don't like these books, I want to use different books. So if you find an image of books, you know, stock image that's free to use on the internet, you can go to uploads. You can see I've uploaded, here's a picture of my children. See how they look as a course background. So I can use a picture of my children. Let's make, there they are. So you can use any photo, because sometimes the photo you might want is $1 and you are cheap and you don't want to pay $1. So you can just find something from the internet or take a picture, use your children. Whatever. All right. Well, that is all I have. So if y'all want to play around with Canva or if you have any questions.
So is there anything tricky about signing up for it?
No, it's very simple. I actually have 2 different accounts. I have one under one email and one under another
You
email.
can use your Google Plus, come Google, and it will like, sign with Google, it will automatically connect.
What's great is like last week I was doing something and downloaded it. And I came back earlier this week and I was like, oh, I want to do something. Oh, we have to start over again. No, it automatically saves all you when you start a new project.
It does a lot of auto saving for you.
Like Google Docs. Yeah.
Mhm.
You can use this to make
Go ahead and stop.
posters and flyers.
Yes, in fact, I brought this.